Year 8, welcome back to week 2 again. Lesson 2 of this week, we had, in lesson 1, you looked at buying food in the market. We had lots of new vocabulary of food and fruit, and also for money, quantities, that type of thing. So we're doing some more work on that today and looking at prices today. So as a starter, please, or before you do the starter, can you write the title en el mercado and then the date you're doing this lesson, please? So escribid el título en el mercado, luego escribid la fecha, subrayad la fecha y el título con una regla, y luego escribid para empezar. So write the date, the title, and para empezar is your starter. Underline all of those so your work looks really neat in your book, please. And then once you have done that, it says copia y traduce. So copy and translate. Now, what you're translating, obviously, is words like un euro, excuse me, which is €1. So I don't want you to translate. Un euro is €1. You're not going to be, there's not much translation work there. What I want you to do rather than translate is to put it into figures, please. So if you hear the words un euro, this is what you would see written. 1 and then the euro sign. So just a bit of background here, you need to know that each euro is made up of 100 cents or centimos in full. So there are 100 centimos in un euro. So if you have 20 centimos, it's 20 cents. Oops, excuse me, move my cat out of the way. He likes being on the screen. So have a look through, and what you're practicing here is the words for the numbers. So 20, 2, 50, and so on. All right. So here are the pictures of the coins that you would need to use in Spain and elsewhere in Europe. Pause the video while you do this task and then move on when you're ready. There's an extra work at the bottom if you finish quickly. Okay, so those of you who have done that well should now have something like this. So un euro would be written as €1. 20 centimos would be written as no euros, but 20 cents. So you get 0, and then either a comma or a full stop, and then 20. So it's a bit like writing 1.50 or £1.50. Remember, the euro sign comes after the figures in Spanish. 2 centimos is 2 cents. I don't think you'd ever get anything for 2 cents in Spain. In fact, quite often, because the coins are so little, before they had the euro, they had the peseta in Spain, and hundreds of pesetas would be worth very little. So you would quite often get change for really small amounts in sweets in shops when I lived there, because it was not, the coins were worth so little. 50 centimos is 50 cents. 2 euros is 2 euros. Un céntimo, 1 cent. 10 centimos, 10 cents. 5 centimos is 5 cents, and that's how you would write it. Okay, so I'm sure lots of you have been to Europe, although not for the last year or so, but you will have bought things in Spain or France or Italy, so you're probably quite familiar with this. Okay, right. So moving on, this is a reminder of the objectives for this week, looking at buying food in a market and using the vocab that you learned by writing conversations, what you're going to be doing today. So we're going to start off with a listening, please. And it says, escribe el precio correcto. So here you've got los números 1 a 10. So in your books, please write escuchar. Luego escribid los números 1 a 10. Write the numbers 1 to 10 down the side of your page. And then using this here, please write out the price that you hear quoted in the listening that we're about to do. Now I just need to change the screen so that I can play this, otherwise it doesn't work.
Página 63.
So I'm just going to pause it again for a second. So you should have written down escuchamos and then the numbers 1 to 10. Listen carefully. You can pause the video. You can go back and listen to it again if you like. As we go through, I will say it as well so that you can hear it twice straight away. Here you go.
Ejercicio 4. Escucha y escribe el precio correcto.
Ah,
¿Cuánto cuesta?
€1.
Okay, número uno is €1. And the question the person asked was ¿cuánto cuesta? Which means how much does it cost? ¿Cuánto cuesta? And the answer this time was €1.
B.
¿Cuánto cuesta?
€2.20.
€2.20. ¿Cuánto cuesta? €2.20.
C.
¿Cuánto cuesta, por favor?
€4.25.
€4.25. That one actually isn't there in the size, so you'll have to work out what that one is. And I apologize to my cat. Next one.
D.
¿Cuánto cuesta, por favor?
€3.50.
€3.50.
¿Cuánto cuesta?
€1.50, por favor.
€1.50, por favor.
F.
¿Cuánto cuesta?
€3.75.
€3.75.
G.
¿Cuánto cuesta?
€1.30.
€1.30.
H.
¿Cuánto cuesta?
€2.25.
€2.25.
I. ¿Qué quieres?
Quiero 2 kilos de manzanas, por favor. ¿Cuánto cuesta?
€2.50.
€2.50. Now, you may have also heard what he wanted to buy then. If you did, please write it down in Spanish or in English. And that's really good listening if you did. And the last one?
Aquí tiene.
Oh, sorry.
¿Algo más?
Nada más, gracias.
Okay, so there we had a bit more of a conversation there. Nada más, gracias, nothing else, thank you.
J. ¿Qué quieres?
Una lechuga, por favor. ¿Cuánto cuesta?
¿80 céntimos? ¿Algo más?
Nada más. Gracias.
So again, she bought one thing and the price was 80 céntimos. And then there was a conversation about, is there anything else you would like? And no, thank you. We're going to look at that in a second. Now, if you need to go back and listen to those prices again, please do. Otherwise, we'll correct it now. The first one was €1, €1. Número dos, €2.50. Sorry, that's not wrong. €2.20. €2.20. Number three, this was the one I said wasn't on there, so we made you work a bit harder there. €4.25. Número cuatro, €3.50. Número 5, €1.50. Número 6, €3.75. Número 7, €1.30. Número 8, €2.25. Número 9, €2.50. Y número 10, 80 céntimos. 80 cents. Okay, so if you've got all of those, really well done. Numbers are difficult, and I think it's in a different language. And I think it's because your brain is trying to do two things. It's trying to think about numbers, and that's the sort of numerical side of your brain. And it's also trying to think of a different language. And I think that's a different, slightly different part of your brain. You're asking it to do quite complex things when you're thinking about numbers and prices and times and so on in another language. So if you got all of those, well done. If you didn't, maybe go back, have another listen, practice again, and then do some practice on your own. Write the words down, and remember, we've done numbers before. We've done all the multiples of sort of up to 100 and beyond before now. Did some in year 7 earlier in year 8. So it shouldn't be all new to you, but it does need revising. Okay, so again, my video, it's taking a long time to move forward. Now, the main task today, what I want you to do is to create a dialogue. Now, what you listened to there was a fairly basic ¿qué quieres? What do you want? Quiero, I want, or I would like. And we also had this algo más. So reading through, this was an example. We've got hola, buenas tardes. So it's in the afternoon because it's good afternoon. ¿Qué quiere? What would you like, or what do you want? Now, if you notice here, it's in the he, she, it part of the verb, and that's because it's a polite way of saying, what do you want? If I asked you or a friend of mine, I would say, ¿qué quieres? But this person is being polite because they're talking to a customer. So they use what's called the formal usted. Usted is you in a formal way, and it uses the same part as the verb as he, she, it. So ¿qué quiere? Is what do you want if you're speaking to somebody on a more formal basis. Hola, buenas tardes. Quiero medio kilo de tomates y una barra de pan, por favor. So yeah, that's hello, good afternoon. I want half a kilo of tomatoes and a loaf of bread, please. Aquí tienes. Now, they've got less formal very quickly because now he's saying, here you are. Here you have what you've wanted, your half a kilo of tomatoes and a loaf of bread. Here it is. ¿Algo más? Anything else? Sí. Quiero 100 gramos de jamón. ¿Algo más? Anything else? No, nada más, gracias. ¿Cuánto cuesta? 13,90 €. So he's got, here you are. Anything else? Yes, I want 100 grams of ham. Anything else? No, nothing else or nothing more. Thank you. ¿Cuánto cuesta? How much is it? 13,90 €. So I'd like you to write your own dialogue, please. It's a shame we're not in class because we could actually practice it, but we will get back to doing that. But at the moment you're on your own, unfortunately. So write your dialogue, use different colors to show you who's speaking. Think about including connectives and a range of quantities and food items. So you could have una lechuga, una botella de agua, un chorizo, medio kilo de zanahorias, 2 kilos de uvas. All the things that we saw yesterday. Put it into your dialogue, please. Write it out in really neatly and using all the connectives and things that you can, and then submit a picture, please. Thank you. Pause the video. I'm just going to say pause the video. Do that when you've finished, then you can move on. And basically, just moving on to have a look at a recap of the objectives again for this week. So far we've done the vocabulary, we've bought food in a market, we've done some listenings, and you've now written out the conversations set in the market. So we are well into the objectives for this week. Thank you very much indeed, Year 8, and I will see you in lesson 3.